Hey guys, Coach Wesson here with Good Lift Performance. I know it's been a while, but I have a very special video for you guys today. I have Bella Delgado's 56 kilo collegiate national championship performance here. I'm going to be going over the kind of the behind the scenes details and telling you about like the whole story, because really there is a lot of background context here for this performance that just makes it really cool. Besides winning the whole national championship, that's obviously amazing, but there's a lot of really cool context here to this performance that I wanted to share with you guys so you can see the whole or hear the whole story. So yes, obviously this is a very special performance. This is my first national champion. So obviously as a coach, that's a very, very special thing. This is also CU Boulder's first podium finish and national champions. That's also very, very special. As well as so Bella and I have been working together almost 3 years at this point, and we've been working together since day one. She has had no other powerlifting coach besides me. We started when she really first started getting into powerlifting. And so really, really cool to have, not only a national champion on the team, but someone who I built up from day one. We've been through all of it together, and it has been a long ride of working through the hurdles of having pain responses to training and figuring things out and, tweaking everything to make sure that we were doing everything in our power to progress and be the best athlete coach team we can be. And to see that all pay off is really, really amazing. So that's kind of the first part of that is this is just a very, very special meet, for both of us. So yeah, so first I'm going to set some context of going into the meet, how we kind of got to this point. Because if you heard on the live stream, they were calling Bella the dark horse because, unless you knew Bella, if you knew Bella, and you followed her on Instagram, you know that she was absolutely killing training leading into the meet and making a lot of progress. But if you did not know Bella and you were just looking at the roster for the meet, Bella wouldn't have stuck out. She, as they were saying on the live cast, she was not in the top 5. She was barely in the top 10 qualifying totals for this meet. When you look at her meet records leading into that meet, she had done 3 USAPL meets, or just 3 meets, and made very reasonable progress. Started off here at the 310 total, 330, 350. So every single meet she had made a 20 kilo jump in her total and was making sizable gains in her dots. So good progress, but nothing insane. This last one, the Medal Mayhem, she totaled 350 in October. For her, and then ultimately what ends up winning collegiate nationals here in April was a 407.5. So she made, a almost 60 kilo jump in her performance from October to April, which is insane, right? That's an insane rate of progress. So if you are, scouting competition, you look at this 350 total and you look at previous history, you go, okay, she, makes about 20 kilo progress about every, from November to April here. So that's 5 months, and then another 6 months here. That's another 30. You can reasonably predict that she might make another 20, maybe 30 tops, and that's going to put her at a 370, 380, which is nowhere near what ends up winning, right? And so on paper, she doesn't look like she's a threat unless you know that she had made just an insane amount of progress. So what changed in her training from October, until the meet to what changed? What made her make all this insane progress? And really the answer is nothing. Her training literally did not change. We just found a formula that worked, and we more or less just kept running it over and over again, and it just exponentially got better and better. There was obviously, if you know Bella, she had a big pain response to deadlifting when we first started, and we had to do a lot of stuff to work around that, and we definitely dialed in her training to follow that response. But eventually that pain response went away, both with the adjustments in training, as well as she worked with PTs, chiropractors, a lot of different specialists to get that all resolved. And so, she was able to start training pain-free, which obviously made a big difference. But I think, honestly, the biggest difference is Bella really just like locked in as an athlete. And not to say that she wasn't like doing a great job before, but really she just hit like a whole new level of, she was on point with her nutrition. She was on point with her sleep, on point with her training. Her mindset with training just went from like she just took it to the next level of being like just on point, like that mindset you need to be a high level competitor. It's hard to like say super tangibly, but like I could tell like she was just more locked in, and the progress was just rolling in. So yeah, really it's all like her. Like she really just crossed all her T's, dotted all her I's, and made sure she was doing everything in her power to recover, to perform. And it really paid off. So I think that was the biggest change. She also did make a slight change to her deadlift technique, where she went from being much more of a neutral spine to having a more of a upper back rounded position that gave her a little give off the floor, which made that part easier. But didn't really sacrifice lockout strength at all. And you'll see here that she did make the most sizable, like almost 30 kilos of that almost 60 kilo progression came from deadlift. So I think that's also, a sizable chunk of that, but I really dial that. I wouldn't say 30, like that technique change, I wouldn't say is necessarily 30 kilos worth of technique change, because it wasn't like she had a bad technique before. I truly think it was just like she was just so dialed in leading into this meet, and it really took off. So yeah, so leading into this meet, she's not on anyone's radar. So about a week out from competition, I start, scouting and looking at the other athletes to see, okay, what are their numbers? What does this look like? I know she had made a ton of progress, and so I figured that we were, going to probably be in the top 10 at least, maybe top 5. You'll see here at her first collegiate nationals, she placed 18th. So I was hoping, we'd hopefully break into the top 10 at least. That was kind of the goal. But as I was looking through the numbers, I was looking through her competitors, which was a little tricky because not a lot of them have lifting Instagrams, or at least ones I could access. I kind of had to go off of their database meet records, which luckily a lot of them had competed rather recently, like December timeframe. So I had some pretty realistic numbers to go off of. I looked at those numbers and was comparing, first I made her attempt card of what I thought she was capable of, and I compared it to everyone else, and I go, oh wow, we're up there. Like, we are definitely in like the top here. And when I kind of narrowed it down to, here are the top 3 competitors, here's what I think they're going to be able to do based off of their recent meets, their kind of progressions, and their meet history of, their rate of progress, their attempt selection, their success rate on the platform, stuff like that. I started to piece together, I'm like, oh, like we have a real shot at winning this. And so I remember, gathering all this data and then hopping on the call with Bella a week out. And I was like, Bella, do you want to know like what I think, or do you want to just go in and lift and just, let us handle it? She goes, no, I want to know. And I remember telling her like, so I think at worst, you're top 3. Like, I think you're podium regardless. And if the chips fall our way, you win this whole thing. And I remember her just like lighting up, being like, no way. Like, because we both didn't really expect that. Because she was paying attention to the other competitors much more than I do, because I kind of just look them up the week before just to kind of see where we're at. And so, pretty much a week out, we were kind of thinking like, okay, this could go our way. And based off of the other competitors, what I predicted they were going to do, I told her, this is how I see the meet going. We need to go basically 8 for 8. And then her deadlift, I was surprised by this. Her deadlift was one of the highest deadlifts in the meet. I expected there to be one crazy sumo puller that would have a super high number, but that just wasn't there on the day. No one had a crazy deadlift. We actually were tied with Kaye for the highest deadlift. And so I remember, and our numbers were pretty much neck and neck, other than she had a bigger bench than us. But the thing with Kaye that I was looking at, with her history is that she almost always misses her third deadlifts, like almost guaranteed misses her third deadlifts. So I told Bella, I said, we need to go 8 for 8 and then see where the numbers are at. And then basically we need to either A, put a third attempt on the bar that pushes Kaye into a range she's uncomfortable with and will miss, or B, we'll have the heaviest deadlift, we get to pull last, and we get to basically put on the bar whatever we need to win. So I told her, like, it is very important that we make all of our attempts leading into deadlifts so that we have the biggest total to build off of, to use our deadlift as a weapon to, or push everyone else into a very uncomfortable position. And I told her I expected the meet to end, the winner to be in the 405, like north of 400 for sure. I was projecting 405 to 410, and that's exactly where it landed. 407 and a half, funny enough, split it right in the difference. So right from the get-go, I kind of told her this is exactly what I thought was going to happen, and spoiler, that's exactly what happens. So that was a week out, and then leading in the week of the meet, we're cutting weight to make weight, and this is where the first speed bump kind of happens, and that is Bella gets her period that weekend leading into the meet, and we're obviously holding on to a little bit of extra weight. So we have to do a last minute gut cut. And that is obviously a little scary because with a gut cut, the weight doesn't fall off until the very end. So it's always a little nerve-wracking doing that, especially when it's a high stakes meet like nationals, as well as gut cuts tend to affect squat strength the most because you don't really have time to recuperate that food mass quickly enough. Like, it's easier to recomp after a water cut than it is a gut cut, in my opinion. So while a gut cut, you don't have to worry about the water manipulation, which is more variable in terms of what it can do to performance, especially if you don't recomp correctly. You get rid of that variable, but you add this other variable of, like, it can affect squat strength a little bit more, and then it usually doesn't affect bench and deadlift as much because you're able to recomp a little bit more, which water cuts, I guess, do affect squat the most too because you're still recomping at that point. But yeah, so we were gut cutting the last minute, and it wasn't until basically the night before, morning of, that she dropped that little bit extra weight that we needed and made weight on her scale, and then made weight in competition. So yeah, that was a little bit of a speed bump, and definitely we were a little nervous about that leading into the meet. But once we hit that last little bit where, all right, now once we hit that last little weight drop, we were good to go, and we were very happy. So yes, we make weight. Unfortunately, this is a very important part, I'm not able to be here on the day. I had a family tragedy that prevented me from coming on the day. So I wasn't here. I wasn't able to be there with her. But luckily, Bella had one of her best friends, also her training partner, Maya, with her on the day. And Maya, in her own right, is a phenomenal lifter, very high level. And in a way, it all kind of worked out for the best because Maya was probably able to provide emotional support in a way only like a best friend can, where, as a coach, I'm very good at the numbers part of it and the analytical side of it. And obviously I can provide emotional support, but not in the same way as like a best friend and a training partner can. And so in a weird way, it kind of all worked out where I was at home on the live stream, helping with numbers, and we had Maya there in person, handling Bella and being there as that emotional support on the day. And Maya did a fantastic job. If you read any of Bella's posts about the meet, you'll know that Maya did a phenomenal job. And Maya was if I couldn't be there, Maya was definitely the next best, if not equally as good of a choice to be there. So very, very lucky that the stars aligned for that to happen. Yeah, let's hop into the meet here. I know obviously I've already showed you guys the actual numbers, so it's a little bit of a spoiler, but we'll still kind of walk through how the meet unwrapped, because that's still kind of important to how this happened. So as the meet starts, two things happen. One, on forecasted total, we are in third, just right off the get-go, which doesn't mean a lot, but if I think about it from the other competitors' perspective, here's a lifter who is kind of coming out of the blue, coming out of left field, who they don't really know about, who was barely in the top 10 of qualifying totals, who on paper like probably isn't a real threat, coming in with a based off openers a projected third place, right? So that already is like, whoa, what's going on here? Number two, our main competitor, in my opinion, is Kaye, because we have very similar numbers. And the big thing here is that I see we both have the same deadlift opener, but we have, and funny enough, I think we have the same squat opener too, but we have lot advantage. We have the higher lot. And so right off the get-go, I feel really good about where we're at, because we basically get to shadow our number one competitor in this meet, in my opinion, or at least like one of two. The other one, Jessica. Yes, Jessica. Jessica was the other. These two were the biggest competitors in my mind of who we needed to look for. Jessica was a younger athlete gaining weight into this weight class, I believe. So her numbers were kind of a little all over the place, of like some up and down performances. I think she just hadn't settled into that body weight yet. And so but she was the number one QT for this meet. And so I still expected her to come out like probably having a good performance. And so I was like, those are the two that I was most concerned about. So, and Jessica she has a big squat, she has a big bench, but she has a smaller deadlift. So, I'm not really concerned about her. I'm not really concerned about any other lifters, right? We're just trying to go 8 for 8 and do our thing going into deadlift. So, first attempt here, Bella and Kaye have the exact same openers, but we get to go second. And so me watching this, from the live stream, I'm a little concerned about, how is she going to be affected by the gut cut? Maya said that her warm-ups were looking good. And so I was, hoping that we were going to have a strong day. And Bella absolutely smokes this opener. So I go, okay, we're on. Gut cut did not affect us in any way, shape, or form, which is pretty lucky. So we hit our opener at 132.5. Both Kaye and Bella jumped to this 142.5, which I was actually surprised to see Kaye jump to 142, because that was her meet PR. And that was back in just December. So I was kind of surprised to see that. That was a big jump. That was a 10 kilo jump. This is technically also Bella's, this will tie her PR in the gym. She had hit 315 before. Once. She had been able to hit 305 very speedily a couple of times, but has only hit 315 once. And so, but that opener moved really, really good. So they took the what I had as our kind of a top end second attempt of like, hey, if the opener is smoked, you can take this. I either had 140 or 142, and they went with 142, which watching it, I definitely thought was fine in terms of like watching the opener, because she moved that super well. And so we take this, and that moves phenomenally. So this moved better than it did in training when she took it. When she took it in training, it was like a 9. Here, it was like an 8. So this is a really good sign. Like, hey, we are on today. We are on fire. So, this is technically her tied PR. So I'd already told them like, hey, like we just need to take whatever's there. So they are, Maya puts in a smart attempt of 147, just going up 5 kilos, like just inch it forward and we'll be good to go. They had saw that Kaye put in 145. So this puts us 2.5 kilos ahead there. So we can gain, a little bit of ground here without compromising missing third attempt. This is going to be really, really big for us. So coming into third attempts here, this is 5 kilos or 10 pounds more than she has ever done before, but feeling very good that this is a good attempt selection. And beautiful. That is a perfect third attempt. We hit all of our attempts. We end up hitting our high end of what we expected on the day. And so the fact that we go 3 for 3, hit the high end here, and we leave room in the tank for a big deadlift at the end, because that wasn't super hard. Like, she could have done another 2.5 and still grinded it out. But the fact that we didn't have to grind out here and we still hit the top end of what we expected is absolutely phenomenal. So really, really big squat here from Bella. As well as, this is where things start to unravel for everyone else. So coming over here, you'll see Kaye, who went right before us, missed 145. Jessica also missed her third attempt of 155. And then Gina, who was the other lifter who I was kind of looking at as like a potential threat, she missed her second and her third attempt. So as you see here, like, they all missed their third attempt squat. So this opens the door for us big time. This is kind of the ideal scenario. This is Doctor Strange, looking into the future, saying, here's the outcome that needs to happen. Is, I told her, like, the cards need to align. We need to make lifts, and things need to go our way in order to win this. And that's exactly what happened, where we're theoretically neck and neck with Kaye in terms of potential total. She missed her third. We did it. Now we are 5 kilos ahead, which you will see makes a big difference come deadlift. And then now Jessica is, she is down quite a bit, where if she had taken maybe 2.5 kilos less, she might have gotten it. I remember watching, like, she got about halfway up before she missed it. And so, like, that was a big jump, and she missed it. So this right here really opened the door for us to win this whole thing. And I remember messaging Bella. I was like, oh my God, Kaye and Jessica both missed their third attempt. The door is open. We need to continue pushing. We need to continue doing what we're doing. Because the door is open. Like, this is the ideal scenario. So that is really, really big for us, that we hit all 3 squats and our competitors missed their thirds. Warming up for bench, I remember getting a message from Bella saying, hey, bench moved, warm-ups moved really, really good. And I was like, perfect, don't change a thing. Just execute the plan. Don't miss any kilos. We just need to keep stacking. And they're like, yeah, 100% agree. So also, especially also with peaking bench press for nationals, especially when it's like, normally you're competing on a Saturday. This is a Thursday meet, right? So it's sort of a weird earlier meet, and so normally when you're setting up training, you compete locally. You're going to compete on a Saturday, so generally you set up the training to peak on a Saturday. But with competing on a Thursday, it changes the peak a little bit. Luckily, Bella's bench is very stable, where it doesn't follow. She's one of the only lifters I have that her bench doesn't really follow a super strict peaking pattern. It's literally just she benches 3 days a week, and honestly, all 3 bench days are kind of strong. She obviously has a primary day, but it's not like her tertiary day or her secondary day or a specific amount of days prior to that peak her, and that has all been tangibly dialed in. It's her bench press, weirdly enough, is just, she has 3 bench days that are kind of equally spread apart in terms of recovery. And then we've just slowly, progressively overloaded that every block of adding 2.5 keys to 5 keys each block. So running the same thing, same rep scheme, basically over and over again. So her bench is actually fairly stable. And so that makes it very easy for us to peak. And we just had to change a few things to make sure the timing was right. So 70 kilos here, nice and easy, smokes it. I believe they go 75. We had talked about, so she had hit the equivalent of 77, or yeah, not the equivalent, because she has kilos at her gym. So she had hits 80 kilos at her gym, but we had talked about wanting to only go 77.5 because that was the safe plan. So our plan was always to go 70, 75, 77, basically. Don't risk it. Because the 80, she got it up, but she kind of grinded it. And so, with having the judges involved, bench is always going to take a small hit. Or not small hit, but usually if you can tie what you hit in training, that's usually really good. Because if you peak your bench, it should show up strong. But then with the judges and the extra hold, especially at a national level, the two kind of cancel each other out. So our goal here was to always go 77, and that 75 moved really good. But yeah, so we go 77 here because we just want to keep stacking chips in our favor. Perfect third attempt here. Absolutely beautiful. And we are now 6 for 6 going into deadlifts. So we are in the exact position we want to be, right? Where we haven't missed a lift yet. We have built the total. We are on the higher end of what we expected our total to be leading into this. And our competitors have missed lifts. So we're in a fantastic spot, especially when you look at. So Kaye doesn't miss a bench. Jessica now misses her first and her third. I don't remember exactly what these. I think this was on strength. I don't remember what this one was on. And then Gina misses her second attempt. So we are on fire, right? Like we are peaked. We are hitting lifts, and we are doing everything we can to we're executing the game plan, right? We are on fire today. We're making lifts, and our competition is not. So heading into deadlifts, we're in second place now, I believe, and we are 5 kilos behind Kaye. We have the same opener of 165, but we have the higher lot. So I told them, all we have to do is basically shadow Kaye, because Kaye on paper will miss every single third attempt deadlift that she takes. That if you look up her lifting database, this is actually the first meet she makes her third attempt deadlift in forever. So I was like, just shadow her and then put whatever you need to on the bar to beat your third attempt needs to beat her total on the second attempt, and then we should be good, right? You just have to shadow her and basically put her in a position where she has to now outpull you, and she'll probably miss. And then we got this locked up. So I literally remember texting Bella. I was like, here's the plan, execute, and this is yours. This is in reach. Lock in, and the national championship is yours. So we were very, very hyped at this point. Coming in the deadlift here, we're feeling good. We're on fire. We smoke this first attempt, but we get red lighted from the front. I know that this is technically cut off. You guys can't see it up here. One from the front, one from the side, red cards, so we weren't fully locked out. I believe this was for the knees. We quickly messaged hey, just got to lock the knees out a little bit harder, and you should be good. And so we just went up to our planned 175, and Kaye did this. Kaye went before us. She did the same thing, so we followed suit, went 175. I told Bella hey, we didn't come this far not to come this far. We are pushing all our chips in the middle. You're going 175. We're not coming here to get second place. It's all or nothing here. So we went 175. I said, just lock it out a little bit harder and you'll be good to go. So this was slightly nerve-wracking, and I'm sure our opposition was probably took a sigh of relief, oh, she might there's a chance she might bomb out or something like that, or this might be the hiccup we need to get back into the meet. Oh yeah, funny enough, this is not the right lifter, but this is 175. We get it up, and we get 3 white lights. So we're back in the meet, baby. So now, at this point, in my opinion, Jessica is too far gone. She's out of the meet. So now it's us and Kaye. Going into third attempt deadlifts, we are 2.5 kilos behind Kaye. Kaye puts in 180. So we also put in 180 because she has to pull first, right? And then we have 182 and 185 attempt changes ready to go. Because if Kaye misses 180, we only have to pull 180 to win, because that would put us 2.5 above Kaye. If Kaye hits 180, then we have to go 185 in order to pull for the win. And we just prepared 182.5 just in case something else happened and we just needed it. So we had, because based off of our numbers, I had 180 was like our low end, 182 was our middle, and 185 was our high end. That was our plan. And we are the last deadlift of the flight too. We are the high lot number. We're in Kaye and Bella are the highest deadlifts of the weight class. And so Kaye is second to last and we are last. So basically we hold all the chips at this point. Like Kaye has to go out and make a decision of what is she going to pull for her third. And we get to react, put on the bar whatever we need to win. At the last second, Kaye, or I should say at the last second, Jessica makes a Hail Mary 12.5 kilo jump for her third attempt and pulls it. She gets it. So fantastic job to her. And she pulls into first momentarily. And so Kaye, to try to secure first, drops her opener or drops her third attempt from 180 to 177. So this will put her just above Jessica for first place and basically says, Bella, we don't believe you that you can pull 182 after her 175. So Kaye goes out, hits this 175 and gets it. Which makes sense of like, they were probably also pretty concerned about like, since she historically misses all of her third attempts, I'm sure they were pretty nervous about going too heavy. So I'm assuming they probably thought like 2.5 to 5 was there and they didn't want to risk the 5. So they just went 2 of like, this secures your first place for the time being. And we're betting that Bella cannot go up. Cause like her second attempt was like moderately hard, but they don't know what cards we're holding, right? They don't know what we think our top end is. So Kaye gets it. And now I will cut in the video here so you guys can hear the audio of Bella pulling for the win. So once they see that Kaye goes 177.5 and she gets it, we then put in 182 because that's now the bare minimum we need in order to win. So we put in 182.5 and I'll let you watch.
Into first place and has put the pressure on Bella Delgado,
who does, I believe, make that attempt change to 182.5 keys, which will bump her up to first place.
And I tell you what, Bella Delgado was not in my top 3 qualifying totals that I wrote down, so this is an impressive
dark horse
underdog, dark horse performance right here. If she can pull for this to get that first place finish.
What a story it would be.
Lifting for Colorado Boulder. Can she get this up?
To stand on top of the podium, Bella.
One deadlift for first place.
She gets it up.
And she will be our national champion.
What a story this is. Like you mentioned before, she's not here on your top 5 list. So what an underdog story that this is.
Yes, definitely coming in as the dark horse. And you can see her give her hug.
You can see how much this means for her.
Maybe a little bit of a tear shed right there.
Yeah.
That was an impeccable.
Yeah.
And there you have it. Bella Delgado pulls for the win and is your 56 kilo collegiate national champion. So such a cool moment. We were all popping off when this happened. It was just so exciting to, obviously win, but to have the meet basically go exactly as we planned. I sat down a week out and said, here's all the chess pieces. Here's exactly how I think this is going to happen. Here's what we need to do. And it played out essentially exactly like that. So super, super cool. Congrats to Bella. She worked her ass off for this. She is she has a full workload as a student. She also apprentices at a tattoo shop and trains for powerlifting, which, as you all know, is another basically full-time job. So she juggles a lot and still got all of her training in, even if it was at 1 a.m. She still got it in, still got in all her nutrition, got good sleep still regardless, still slept well, did all her rehab, prehab, did everything she needed to do to make sure that she recovered and performed, and it all paid off. So I'm so proud of her. I am sad that I wasn't able to be here on the day to, help her in person, but it all worked out where I got to, be the sniper in the outpost, calling numbers and coming up with the game plan, helping out. And, her friend Maya got to be there in person, and she got to share that experience with her best friend and training partner, which I know was very special. So it was amazing how it worked out. And honestly, like it helped put more people in her corner on the day. So yeah, that is the story of how Bella, the dark horse Delgado, came out of left field and won nationals. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and hopefully I will be able to make more videos here in the near future. Life's been a little crazy, so I've been able to make videos, but hopefully this will help and encourage me to make more videos. So I'll talk to you all in the next one. Peace.